Have you ever been working in a product and you wonder if what you are building is something that your customers are going to need? Or actually you have built a product, you have launched it, but it's not getting any traction, and then you are wondering why people don't find this interesting. Probably what you're after is product market fit. Dan Olsen, in his book, The Lean Product Playbook, talk about the pyramid for product market fit. When he introduced this concept, he wanted to make sure that he could explain how to achieve product market fit for the products that you're building and for the customers that they are serving. Why is this important? Most of the products out there usually or rarely find any kind of product market fit, which means that they are built to solve some problem, but in reality, they never really get to solve the problem in a proper way that people are actually getting traction and starting using that product. So in this video, let's talk about the product market fit pyramid and how can it help you finding and achieving that product market fit. What Dan Olsen did in this pyramid is that he defined how to link the market with the product and what are the components that define those market and product and how they can help each other to actually achieve product market fit. So let's start with the market, and let's start with the most basic thing. The reason why you are starting your product. You have found some kind of an undeserved need on the customers out there. And it's very important to talk about undeserved need, because it might be that the need is already met. There are products out there that are trying to solve the problem. But by talking about undeserved need, we are making sure that we are talking that we could find a better solution than what is already available out there in the market. And of course, in the market, we also have to define who are the target customers that we are wanting to address and that we want to help to solve that need, that undeserved need that they have. This is very important because we don't want to go for a very, very wide product that is going to solve the problems for everybody in the world or for even that need, because usually it's better to start small and then make sure that you actually have some impact on those customers. And from there, you can look forward in the future how to grow. And those will be the two things that define the market. And by the way, I know that I switched the two components in the market size. It's just that I wanted to start with what is the why and then define who are the people that are affected by this problem. Although Dan Olsen actually defines first the target audience, and then it goes into defining what is the undeserved need. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but I think that I'd rather start usually with the why and then who are the people affected, instead of starting with the people affected and then going into the why. But of course, we are product people and we love to build solutions to solve needs and problems that the people have. So let's define now what are the three components defining the product. So first of all, we are going to define what is the value proposition of our product. How is our product going to make the lives better for the users that are using it? And this doesn't mean that the value proposition has to be the perfect solution and bring all the things that your customer need. It means that it has to be a solution that brings value to the customers and addresses that problem. And usually sometimes in the beginning, it's better to start small and be able to expand later on. So it's very important to define this value proposition to understand very well how the product is actually addressing and solving the problems for your users, and be able to then prioritize against that value proposition to make sure that whatever you're building is always advancing that value proposition and not necessarily advancing something that might be nearby, but is not exactly the same. So being focused and sometimes being a little bit ruthless when saying no to certain, building certain things into your product is going to be very important. And because Dan Olsen loves also the Lean Startup, he also talks a lot about MVP. So next, he talks about what is the feature set that belongs to your MVP. So what you have to make sure next is that you have to be able to define the feature set. What are the features that you're going to build to actually provide that value proposition that you have defined for those target customers to solve that underserved need. And again, because we want to take an MVP approach, what we want to do is that we want to make sure that the solution that we are building is solving the problem that the customers have. We might fail. We might take sometimes some features that are not needed. That's fine. It's very important that we build, then we measure, then we learn. And then we can adapt and modify, potentially delete some of the features, create new ones, modify existing ones to make sure that what we are building is something that is going along to what our customers need. So again, he likes the MVP approach and he actually tries to take that MVP approach in order to make it sure that he's evolving and building that product that is actually constantly changing and constantly trying to find that kind of a sinuous path to meet the underserved needs of the customer and build the product that you need to build. Next, he talks about building and defining the UX of your product. What is the design of your product? What is the user experience that your users are going to have? And he doesn't tell that you need to do this necessarily in the MVP, because it can be quite costly. Is that how can you build those mockups, those early prototypes or mockups that you are going to share with your customers or your potential customers to get feedback on how the experience that you're going to bring to them is, and is it something that they actually enjoy or that they find easy to use, or is it something that is very complicated that you should think about and maybe rethink and rebuild in an easier way. So user experience is a very important thing nowadays, of course, and it has been for a while, especially since most of us have some kind of fun that it helps us in our daily lives, and usually they are very easy to use. So you don't want to build a very kind of rough experience for them to actually be able to work with your product, to go through a lot of settings and a lot of customizations in order to make it work for solving their needs. You want that it's as easy as possible and that they can get the value that they need really fast without then having to have a very long learning curve. So once you have defined what your product is, what your market is, the components that define this product and this market are, then what product market fit means is that product market fit means that you have found target customers that have an undeserved need, and you are providing a value proposition with your product that consists of a specific feature set and has a good user experience for them. When this product and this market match and they meet their needs, you have found product market fit. So the reality is that you are going to have to work a lot with your customers in order to make sure that what you are building is something that it's actually going in the direction of solving their problem. This is going to be very key for you to identify and find that product market fit, because most likely, and this will happen to pretty much everybody, the first iteration of your product is not going to solve the problems in the way users need them to be solved. So you're typically going to need very many iterations in order to get your product where it should be in the future, to actually solve that problem in a proper way that people find it appealing and that actually solves those problems better than potentially the competition, or if there's no competition, it serves that new need that users have. And when talking about iterating, is that you have to constantly have a set of users or customers that you can contact with relatively often to test the new ideas, to test the prototypes, to test the new features, so they can give you feedback to make sure that what you're building is something that is going to solve their problem. The pyramid is just there to illustrate that this is how the product market fit is found, but it's not something that it just gets to be accomplished in one go, as sometimes people might understand from these pyramids. It doesn't mean that you have to build that perfect product. There is no such a thing as a perfect product. The reality is that all the products have to evolve over time, and usually the first versions or first iterations of the products are not going to be that great. They are going to get much better with time, and you can see that pretty much with all the products out there. They are not perfect. There's pretty much never a perfect product. They always have iterations and they get better over time. So just for example, think about what you're watching now in YouTube. YouTube back then, I don't remember when it was founded, some time before 2010 for sure, but it was a very different experience to what it is now. And you could argue that the recommendations have gotten better or they haven't gotten worse because maybe they are repeating a little too much the videos I'm looking at all the time apparently. But if you look at my YouTube recommendations, typically I'm going to have something related to gymnastics, surf skating, surfing, product management, and rarely anything else. But sometimes I would like to see something else because, kind of gets boring if it's always the same thing. So making it interesting is also something that maybe YouTube should think a little bit about how to make me more interested about some other videos out there and other creators out there. So let's say that you have iteratively evolved your product, that you have had many iterations, that it has gotten better over time, and actually now you have a good market size. You have found those customers with that problem and you have delivered a proper value proposition to them with the features and the user experience that actually meets their needs. That moment, probably you have achieved product market fit, but you might have reached also your vision. And here you have to be careful. How do you get your product into maturity. In that moment, your product starts to be more mature, your product might have achieved its vision. Many products out there get lost when they achieve their vision. So if you want to hear more about how to scale up your product, go check out this video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one. And remember, stay safe.